Hello and welcome to Focus on Israel and the Palestinian Territories. My name is Paul Calvert. Proverbs 22 verse 6 says this, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." I'm with Jaz Ampaw-Farr, who was a contestant on The Apprentice and is here in Israel. What are you doing here in Israel?
Well, I have the honour of working with the Anglican International School in Jerusalem because my day job is a literacy consultant, and I'm really passionate about reading, writing and spelling and us getting that as close to brilliant as we can. They were my own tickets out of poverty, not just physical poverty, but mindset poverty. So if we can get children by the end of primary school really owning the skills they need, then we can make a huge difference. And here at the Anglican International School, they have a great vision for making sure that every child, no matter which school they come from or which language they speak or which year they're in, get the best that they can give, a quality education in English language, so that they can use that to go on and fulfil their potential. So I'm really just supporting with some funky ideas and a bit of systematic planning for that.
And who inspired you? Tell us a little bit about your story and your childhood.
Yeah, well, my childhood is, I always think it's a very sort of sad story. I always think if I was going on we have the X Factor in the UK, which is like a singing competition, and all the contestants have really sad backstories, and that's what makes them great contestants. I don't particularly want to win a singing competition, but I do have a great backstory. I'm mixed race, so I lived with my mum, who was white, and my dad was unknown. Quite a turbulent childhood. She married a man who was very violent and abused us sexually, physically, verbally. We were in and out of foster care, myself and my 5 brothers and sisters. Lots of times. And what's interesting is throughout this time, even though I felt very alone and very afraid for my life, I didn't believe I was valuable, I felt worthless, I was scared all the time, I was in school. And in school I had, fortunately, completely blessed, I had 5 teachers, because I worked out, I had about 100 teachers between attending nursery school and attending teacher training college. And of them, 5, I had one in each kind of key stage, one in each stage as I went through. Really just they did the academic stuff, but they were very interested in connecting with me as a person. They were about engagement. They were about believing in me, about valuing me. Well, even when I didn't believe in myself, I would say I can't do it, and they would say, what would it look like if you could? I would say, I'm just rubbish, I'm never going to get this right. And they would say, well, I believe in you and I'm right here. And because I didn't have anyone else, the power of someone just standing shoulder to shoulder with you repeatedly kind of kept the flame of hope burning, that one day I would maybe, escape my horrible life. And even when we went into foster care and we were sort of rescued and taken away, that was about 8 years old, things were still very difficult. But all through secondary school, I had these people that believed in me and invested in me, and it made me want to not let them down. And I actually went on in the end to become a teacher because of their input, because I wanted to pay it forward and honour what they did, and because they showed me what a great adult was. I didn't, as far as I was concerned, that the pinnacle of being a great human was to be a teacher and to be compassionate and have empathy and to always hold children with an unconditional positive regard. And so that's what I set out to become.
And teachers change your life?
Completely. They're transformation agents. I think, and here's the crazy thing, what I do now is because after I had a fantastic opportunity to go on The Apprentice and get fired in the first week, becoming a failure expert. And I remember when it happened thinking, I'm just going to hide. I'm going to fake my own death and hide away in a desert island, because it's so embarrassing, because every child I've ever taught, every parent I know, all my friends and family, everyone is going to see that I failed. But actually, I started to embrace it and thought, well, failure is it's like a ladder. Every rung is a failure, and you need plenty of rungs to get to the top to succeed. So I started kind of talking about that. And I do lots of talks in business, but my favourite keynotes are in education, to remind teachers, look, I know you're tired. I know it's hard work. I know you're paid a really low wage. But you have the most amazing job in the world, because you are literally transformation agents. You interrupt trajectories by just being there, by the little things you do, by showing up with your whole self every day, and you change lives, you change futures, and you should own that hero status and celebrate it. And also that means looking after yourself and not putting everybody else first all the time, as I know teachers also do. Because you can't fill from your cup, you need to fill from your saucer. So you need to be overflowing yourself in order to be a civic innovator for others.
Do you feel that there's a lot of people in society, and teachers as well, who don't realise their potential and their range and their influence? Yeah,
do you know, this is one of my saddest things. Because I lived for years as an adult pretending hiding, imposter syndrome, having imposter syndrome, just feeling all the time that I don't deserve this, I shouldn't be here, this is someone else's life, and believing that everyone should have access to kindness and everyone is valued apart from me. And I remember sort of having a thought thinking, why am I so special that I'm the only person on the planet that isn't valuable and everybody else is? And actually, when I started to stop using can't, don't, won't, should, when I noticed that in my language, I would switch it. So instead of saying, oh, I should be a better mum, or I should cook more fresh food, or I should exercise more, I just changed it to, I would like to exercise more. I would like to cook healthier meals. And even that small shift changed what I could achieve. But what I see all the time is people living in this story. They tell themselves that it's a story from their past. Any trauma, however big or small, a relationship breaking up, or a child that you can't connect with, your own child that you've had a problem with, or feeling bullied at some stage, can create a story about yourself. And the story you tell about yourself isn't the truth about you. It's a past fact, and actually it limits us. It's a limiting thought, limiting language and behaviour. And what it means is that we're all walking around. Other people could benefit from our vulnerability and authenticity, but we're too afraid. We're led by fear. And fear, you can't grow from fear and shame. It's not a place, it's not a fertile garden. You have to be able to say, what's the truth? What is the truth about me? And stand on that. And a great way to do it, I've actually got cards that I give out. I give a card to someone, and it says the truth about me by whoever. They hand it to someone who knows them well, and they write on the back something that is true about that person, and then you keep it with you. And when you're thinking, I am just useless, you get the card out and go, oh, that's the truth about me, and you stand on that truth.
What motivates you?
God, that's a good question. What motivates me? At first I thought it was this desire not to hide anymore. It was like knowing that if I could be open and honest about who I was and why I do what I do, then I would feel... Because I was doing literacy. I've been doing literacy for 25 years, and people would come up to me and say, oh, it's amazing what you've done has changed our school, it's changed our town, we've done this. I was travelling abroad, and, oh, you've changed our country and the government. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And it was good, but I knew I wasn't being honest with myself about why I was doing it, because I was hiding. I was ashamed. I was scared of what people would think of me if I told the truth. So at the beginning, what motivated me was like, I want to be honest. I want to stop hiding. I want to stop feeling ashamed. And then as The Apprentice came out, my baby brother, who's one down from me, took a heroin overdose and died. And it was very, if you've lost someone, it doesn't matter how much you know about what happens after they die, it still just tears you in half. And there was a point after that, I was standing at the sink washing up, and I suddenly thought, it's not okay. I have to do something, because I know how to survive. I know what it takes to get through, and I'm not sharing it. So it's like me finishing a race and celebrating, and there's people collapsed at the second lap, and I know something that can help them, and I'm not sharing it. It's wrong. And it was just this real, it's not okay, and I'm going to do something about that. So it's kind of redemptive, I think. It's me sort of saying, that there's more. It's not, I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle for myself or for anyone saying, do you know what, I'm not good enough, because that's just not the truth.
How have you been able to inspire teachers here in the Holy Land?
Oh, well, I think I've been more inspired than inspiring them. What I've met, especially at this school, is people who have such a heart for supporting and helping. And, teachers in the Holy Land and teachers all over the place have one thing in common. They all put in above and beyond what is needed to try and do their best. And that costs them. It costs them in their own health. It costs them in their own personal lives. I know I was teaching, and my children drew a picture of our family, and they drew Daddy and the other three kids and Jacob, and then he drew me, and I was on my laptop. I was just like, oh no, I've got to change this. But I think one of the ways that I hope that I've inspired them is to just take on board the agency and capacity you have. It's not about being the best of everything. It's about your personal best. And one thing I do is I give teachers a badge at the end of training, and there's 4 very powerful words on that badge, 4 words to stand by. And it says, our work changes lives. And I say, I only want you to wear this if you believe it. And if you do believe it and you do wear it, then you need to start owning it. So that's one of the things that I hope I've inspired them to take on, ownership of what incredible gift they bring when they teach.
Now, you were on The Apprentice. Why did you go on the show?
Because because I'm an idiot. No, because I have this thing. My granddad fought in World War II, and I grew up with my nan and granddad for some of the time. And my granddad always used to say, you volunteer. If something needs to be done, you step forward, you don't step back. So I've got this habit of saying yes first and working out the details after. And as I was watching The Apprentice, I was doing a spelling scheme for a school, and I was watching TV. And I was getting really armchair expert. Oh, I could do better than that. You guys aren't very good. This is ridiculous. And before I knew it, I'd applied and got on the show. I actually forgot to tell my husband. I had to come back from the audition and say, actually going to be away for 2 months. Are you okay to look after the kids? So I got on because I thought, well, why not me? I mean, I spent my whole life thinking, why me? Why me? The world owes me a living. Why me? But that switched to, well, why not me? Why not? Why shouldn't I do this? Why shouldn't I run for president? Why shouldn't I? And yeah, it might not work, but failure is how you learn. So I'm comfortable with things going wrong. And good job, because I was home within a week being on the show.
Did it inspire you, and was it enjoyable being on the show?
That is a good question. Enjoyable. Because it's a bit like being incarcerated, because they take it very seriously. You can't tell anyone you're going on. You're not allowed to go to the toilet on your own. You're not allowed a pen. So because writing for me is so important, I found it quite hard. But what I did enjoy is being with an eclectic group of people who I'd never get to speak to or know in any. And I think of the people there, they do pick people who are quite sometimes young. I think I'm the eldest that's ever been on the show, and they're sort of full of bolster, and I'm going to be the next Alan Sugar. But underneath it all, they're the same as us. You know, they worry, they want to be happy, they're scared. So that was great, because I love these kind of social experiments where you live in a house with people and have to form a community. So for the short time I was there, it was very enjoyable. But I think I've enjoyed being fired and being out. In fact, when one of my friends sent me an email when I got fired saying, congratulations, you don't have to put up with it now for the next 12 weeks. So, but yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed after more than I enjoyed there, but I'm glad of it. I feel like it's been a great experience.
Now, you put yourself forward as project manager. What was your project?
Yes, I put myself forward as project manager again because Alan Sugar said we need a volunteer. I'll do it. You know. So we had to sell a lot of, I would call it tut and rubbish. My kids would call it precious souvenirs. And it was like lucky Chinese cats, you know, the cats you have in Chinatown, and mugs and cat litter, just odd random toilet rolls, odd random things. And we picked them up from Tilbury Docks at 3 a.m, and we had to get rid of them all by 8 o'clock that night. So we're at the flower market in London, we're going to big markets, we're phoning Battersea Dogs home. And my biggest mistake was that I took my lucky cats to Chinatown at 6 o'clock in the morning when Chinatown isn't open, just a hint for anyone who was thinking of going there. Also, they already get their lucky cats from China at a very cheap price. So it was a really huge mistake. And I've still got them all in my garage. So if you'd like a couple of hundred, I could do you a really good deal.
What's Alan Sugar like?
Well, you know, this is interesting because I always think when I sort of meet someone who I feel is a bit abrasive, I always say to myself, Jaz, what would you do what would you think, what would you feel, what would you say if you were able to be compassionate right in this moment? And Alan Sugar is quite abrasive because he doesn't say please or thank you or sorry, and he's got one tone, and he kind of frowns all the time. It's like he's expecting to be disappointed all the time. But actually, even offset, he's exactly the same. He's very authentic. That's just his range of emotion is there, and he just wants things done. And he kind of, I think he's got this thing where he doesn't suffer fools gladly. So the party at the end, he was there, and he was just in the same mode as in the boardroom. He was the same, same sort of guy. I don't think I ever saw him smile for the entire time. I don't think I saw him smile. But he's a straight up guy. What you see is what you get.
Yeah. Now, teaching is a very difficult profession to be in today, and family seems to have broken down so much. Is a teacher a sort of glue that holds a child together?
Oh my gosh, yes. You're so good at this. Yeah, you know what? For me, gosh, it's more than glue. It's more than glue. Because when you have things at home going on where a breakup, even when it's done beautifully, even when it's done with as much compassion and empathy as possible, it's still a disruption of home and of life and of kind of acknowledging, belonging really. And what teachers often don't realise is that they are there every day. They see the children, 6 hours they spend with the children every day. And children are like video cameras. They're like recording everything you say and do, and they're working out, is that really what she thinks? Is that really what she feels? So they're looking for data the whole time to see is this okay? Am I okay? Is everything okay? And so teachers, they're so much more than glue, because they're like this stable, they're like an oak tree, they're like a light that never goes out, like a lighthouse that you can be drawn towards and know that you're safe. You're not going to crash into the rocks, you're not going to drift off out to sea, because that lighthouse is driving you towards consistency, safety. I talk about teachers having ACE relationships, which is authentic, being their authentic selves, being consistent in the fact that they're always there, and having high expectations, not letting the fact that, okay, well, things are hard at home, but I still expect you to do well because I believe in you. And those three things, those ACE relationships, they're the reason that I'm not dead. They really are. I have searched my life. I've gone back and thought, how have I survived? How have I done this? And in all the therapy and the counselling and the coaching that I've had and I've given to other people, I just keep coming back to it's those 5 teachers and a surrounding cast of accidental saviours, but those 5 teachers were the glue. They were the thread of life that kind of kept me going all the way.
What would you say to a young person setting off on their journey of life today?
Oh, strap yourself in, kid. Well, I would say aim for failure. Aim for epic failure. Fail first. Fail fast. Don't be failure averse. Don't be driven by fear, because you can't get to success until you've failed. Often I ask people, who's made a mistake today? And people are sort of like, oh, I don't know. And I think, you know what, if you haven't made a mistake, you're not trying hard enough. You're staying in your comfort zone. It's all about growth, and contribution can only happen when you're making mistakes. Now, don't make huge mistakes like robbing a bank or, like kidnapping a whole city. Don't do that. But take risks that you think, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if anyone's successfully done it before, but the current situation isn't the best it could be, and I'm going to go for it. That's the sort of risk. And what you find is that when you do that, people come with you. Everyone's waiting for one person to say, let's give it a go, so that they can join as well. So I would say rebrand failure so that it is your superpower, so that you can become a failure ninja, and you can really grasp all of those things that frighten you and you're afraid of, because everything you want is on the other side of your fear. So dance with it, go straight through it, and get there.
Are you making a difference?
Yes, I'm making a difference. I am making a difference, because I get so many fantastic emails and tweets, and when I speak at keynotes, when I travel around the world, people come up to me afterwards. I'm making a huge difference. And what I hope is that, half the time I want to get involved in people's lives and I want to walk with them for the rest of the time. But what I know and what I hope and what I expect is that the difference I make is a catalyst for change. And people say to me, because of what I've heard, I want to live my life differently. And that's what I want to do. That's what everyone else has done for me. And I just want to, that's what a good one looks like. And the way I thank the people who've invested in me and changed my life is by passing that forward to someone else. So yeah, I think I am.
Okay, Jaz, thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
If you'd like to know more about our show, you can join us on Facebook. Just look for Focus on Israel-Radio. Ezekiel 37 verse 4-6 says this: Again he said to me, Prophesy to these bones, and say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord God of these bones, Surely I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live. I will put sinners on you, and bring flesh upon you, cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and the Jews will receive the real shalom peace.